I'm excited to share that Edible Acres is back online. We've got a new to us used iPhone, and so I start making videos like crazy because the weather's been beautiful. We're just a day after Thanksgiving. So many projects going on, and so I want to start catching up on making videos here. Thought I'd make one that's on the relatively quick side, where I talk about healing in plants for the winter, introduce that concept to some of you that haven't done this before, and maybe add another layer of complexity or value to those of you that heal in trees and shrubs and herbaceous plants for the winter. So what I want to talk about is how we're storing high-value tree crops that'll be sold or planted out in the spring next year, and intercropping them with support plants. And let me explain what I mean by this. So here's a clump of weeds, it looks like. It's actually incredible value here. This bed was in one of the last videos I made where I talked about the hickory nut tree growing, and we had ashwagandha and leeks in here, and so now it's a heal-in bed for the winter because it was open and available. And I've got over maybe 100 chestnuts in here. There's a whole bunch of elderberry in here, but you'll also notice that there's some other herbaceous layers, and in this case we've got blue hyssop, which is an incredibly aromatic plant. And the reason I've done this, so basically healing in is digging a nice deep loose hole, putting in bundles of trees or shrubs. It could be bundles of 50 raspberries or clumps of strawberries. It could be all sorts of things, but basically burying their roots back in the soil in groups and covering the roots back up so that over winter they can live and put on some feeder roots, do their thing, and then in the spring you can simply pull them right out of the soil without a shovel and be able to transplant them. So it's a great fall task to make your spring life a lot easier. I lost last year nearly every chestnut tree that I healed in a field because voles went into that soft soil and ate the roots off of almost every tree. And so the lesson that I'm learning is to pair up highly aromatic companion herbaceous plants with my high value and susceptible trees. So in this case, hyssop is buried right in with the chestnut. You can see anywhere where a creature would want to go in and live, there is hyssop or lavender. And of course, these plants are not sacrificial. In the spring, when I go to pull the chestnut group out, the lavender will come with it, which I could co-plant with the trees or move them elsewhere, pot them on, sell them however I want to use them. But this way there's a community locked in together. You'll notice on the edge is perennial arugula or Sylvetta arugula. That's highly aromatic. I've got sorrels, which are highly aromatic. So all of these are working together to protect my high value keystone. So it's basically creating beneficial guild relationships in temporary healed in beds for winter. This is another bed that through some eyes would look just like a jumble of weeds. To me it's actually very thought out, but we'll explain. Northern side are black currants. These are incredibly aromatic. I mean, they just reek of amazing, they smell exactly like the fruit tastes, which is this really funky thing. I've never seen mice or voles girdle or chew these or disturb their roots. So this is on the edge of the bed. Sorrel is also in here, and then we get into my high value crop, which are Nanking cherry, Prunus tomentosa. It's a really beautiful set of 3-year-old plants, very high value to me. These will begin to fruit next year. I could sell these for $30 to $40 a piece, so I don't want to lose them. And you'll notice that what I did was I flanked the outside of this with Anise Hyssop, which would be a beautiful companion understory herbaceous partner for any of these Nanking cherries out in the field. And for the winter, I'll flank Anise Hyssop all around. The other thing I'll do is another group of Nanking cherries won't be right next to this. I'll put them in another spot in the garden. That gives me some resiliency just in case something happens to this group. I don't have all my eggs in one basket, literally. And you can see that this one garden bed, I've dumped some compost on here, will be able to receive upwards to another 200 to 300 trees and shrubs. And so I'll pack them in and give them all sorts of companionship. Aromatic, perennial, high-value companionship. Same basic idea here. I don't need to go on and on, but there's mulberries that are awaiting some sort of allium protection around them. I've got raspberries with Turkish Rocket, so the spikes protect the Turkish Rocket. Elderberry is highly aromatic and repulsive to most rodentia, it seems. At least the stems are. Deer will eat the leaves. So they're conferring some protection to these little strawberries. You get the idea. And here, just in case voles want to eat my Turkish Rocket, I've got some Japanese negi, which is a perennial Welsh onion from northern Japan. So there's also energetically something I think very sweet about all these different beings being able to nestle in and take care of each other for the winter. The trees will help reduce the wind pressure on the other plants, etc., etc. So I'll keep on with this for the rest of the day while the weather's beautiful. And so for those of you that have never healed in trees, maybe you want to start growing trees from seed, and then this way you have a place to put them for the winter, and pair them up with mentha or allium or other aromatics and see what they do for you. Thanks for watching. We look forward to getting a lot more videos coming out soon.